Kansas. What's up, Rich?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good. What's happening?
Hey, good. Last time, long time.
Thank you.
Hey, I sort of wanted to liken your career to Bill Russell.
Is that all? Okay.
Probably one of the most beloved players in Boston, if not around the country. But he went out on top, and so are you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you a question. What do you think makes a good sports talk show host? I mean, in Boston, unfortunately, we got a bunch of yahoos that just want to say outrageous things.
I think that's part of it, number one. I think you got to be legitimate. I think you have to let the event carry the moment and don't try to create stuff out of nothing, because if you try to do that, it's disingenuous. It doesn't work.
Where did that start? Because people like you are a rare breed. I mean, I listen to people all around, and it's, you're the rare breed. Everybody, just wants to say outrageous things.
Well, and that doesn't work. The audience is smarter than that. It really is. I think you have to. You have to be opinionated. You have to have a presence, because you have to really cut through. There's a lot of voices out there now. There's a lot of places to work. In the old days, or at a different time, there weren't as many places to work as there are now. But now you have to cut through, because there's a lot of clutter. Look at the amount of podcasts there are now. To join that, look at how many sports talk stations there are. There was one when we started. We were it. We were the first one. Now there's thousands of them. So they're everywhere. So it's changed a lot. It really has. Eddie in Rockland, what's up, Eddie?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, what's happening?
As far as the Giants, the people don't know if Mara's going to keep Eli for next year or the future.
No, I don't think he knows yet. I don't think even he knows yet.
Let me ask you a question. Does that determine of who they pick as a coach? Because to me...
No, I don't think it does. I don't think it has anything to do with who they pick as a coach. I don't think it has anything to do with Eli Manning.
I'm coming from. I see if the Giants can trade down, if they get a top pick and they think this other kid is pretty good after they go through the motions, and they can trade down. I can see Eli in a good Giant team, holding their own in this division for 3 or 4 years with a competent coach. But
I disagree. I disagree with you completely. Is that I think when the Giants get to pick at this level, they will use this opportunity. In a deep quarterback draft, they will use this opportunity to pick a quarterback. They don't expect to be back here. They don't want to be back here. The last time they picked...
determine who coach they take?
No, I don't think it will determine what coach they pick. I don't think it will. I think they'll pick the best coach, because I think they're picking a coach they hope for a decade. They're not picking a coach for a year. They're picking a coach they hope. They're going to pick a general manager first, and then they're going to have the general manager be involved in picking the head coach. That's how it's going to work. I mean, that's the way the Giants do things. The odds on them picking one guy for both jobs would be very rare. I mean, that would be, 50 to 1. They'll pick the general manager. They'll have the general manager be involved in the search for a coach, and they're going to hope they pick a coach that lasts a long time. That's what they're going to hope for. That's what they're going to want to do. I mean, when you pick a coach, you're not picking them for a year. You don't want to change your coaches every couple of years. You really don't. You want to change them every 15 years. Steve in Portchester, what's up, Steve?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Just want to thank you for all the years.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Putting up a great show, and you and your team, too. My question is, when was the last time you think that both the Giants and the Jets, because I think the Jets are also going to take a quarterback, taken in the same draft, like the same year? Do you remember when that was done again?
Last time they did what? Both took quarterbacks?
Yeah.
In the first round?
Yep.
That one, I'm not sure. Boy, oh boy, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. I can't. I can't think of the year the Giants just both took quarterbacks in the same round. The year the Jets took Namath, the Giants took, I believe, Tucker Fredrickson. I'm trying to think of one year where the Giants took one in the same round. Boy, I can't remember. I mean, they might have taken quarterbacks. I'm talking about taking quarterbacks with the first pick is what we're talking about. Taking quarterbacks at the top of the draft. I'd have to go back and think about it. Mike in Floral Park, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike, you know what the strange thing is about you leaving FAN for me? I'm not really saying goodbye to you. I think I'm saying goodbye to FAN because there's nothing compelling from the drive time from the morning
till, let's say, 6 o'clock that keeps me on.
Well, listen, you might change your mind. You know, you never know.
No, you know me well enough. I'm not changing. I'm going to hope that
you got a job coming anyway, though. I'm telling you, you're a New Britain Bees bat boy next year.
No, I want to be his pitching coach.
All right, well, then get on board. Get on board. That's it. I mean, you want to be their pitcher. You want to be his pitching coach. Absolutely.
Don't hang up on me. I'm hoping you end up on XM radio, for a few days a week. It's a great product, and that's where I do most of my listening when I'm not tuned in to you. Mike, something was said last night in the NFL that I thought was really compelling. I've forgotten who the analyst was. He said after that horrible injury the other night to the Pittsburgh Steelers player, he said, my wife and I are not going to let our 10-year-old or 5-year-old play football any longer. And unfortunately, I think that's the trend. And
that Shazier play is going to scare people. I don't think there's any question, because that is a play, and I hate to say this, that is a play that could happen to anybody. And I'm telling you, the first time I watched my boys play and I saw them on the practice field, I watched to see how the guys instructed them about the use of the helmet and the tackle. And if they had done it wrong, I would have pulled them off the field. And they didn't. They did it properly. And I reinforced that with them time and time again. If you're going to tackle someone, you've got to tackle right. And that was a play where his tackle is going to be used time and again to show how easily you can get hurt if you tackle improperly and use your helmet. And he used his head and his helmet, and you can see the compression that happens when that should never have happened. And that's a top player using his helmet totally improperly, not to injure another player, but to injure himself. Just a terrible situation. And is there anything new on that today? I haven't seen anything. Is there anything come out at all? So now we're 5 days in, and we have not been told one thing. Those earliest reports about his movement of his lower extremities were completely debunked. The official statements had none of that. I'm not getting on the guys who reported it. That's not the point. Okay? I'm sure they thought they had it from reputable places, but there's very few places that you're dealing with player information when you're dealing with something like this, that there are, if it's not coming from the hospital, the Steelers, or the doctor, it's not real. That's all there is to it. And their reports have stated nothing. They have had not one word in them about whether or not he has movement in his lower extremities. We have not heard one word about that. Well, we did hear them state that this case is far more difficult than they thought it was. That's what was stated. And he has already undergone spinal stabilization, which does not mean anything by itself. Does not mean you cannot draw a complete conclusion, at least from what I read. You cannot draw a complete situation where you've now made an assessment based on that operation itself. It's not a fair way to look at it. You can't come to a conclusion from just the operation. There could be multiple reasons for the operation. So it does not mean, but you would figure they'd want to tell everybody good news if they had some good news to tell you. That's the sad part. I keep hoping every day I'm going to wake up and see the information that says that his feeling has come back completely in his legs. That's what you're hoping to see. Very scary. Chris in Farmingdale. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Mike. I got a question, and thanks again. And I'm going to really miss you.
Thank you. What's happening?
It's kind of shocking. Do you think that the Patriots, they got to walk through the Super Bowl? Because in the NFC, they got a bunch of good contenders, and there's a bunch of good games. Where the AFC, I think it's basically just the Steelers and the Patriots, and the Steelers never win a big game against the Patriots. So it's kind of like, are the Patriots just destined to go back to the Super Bowl again this year?
We all are expecting the same thing next week, and that is we're all expecting Tom to just cut the Steelers apart. I mean, we've watched it so many times. We're expecting the same thing again. I mean, we all are. Maybe we'll get a surprise next week. Now, again, the first one doesn't mean that the second one's going to come out the same way. They're probably going to play again, these two teams. They clearly, right now, appear to be the class of the AFC by a significant margin, these two teams. So the loser's going to have probably another shot at the winner, but it'll most likely be at the other's home field for the championship game. They play on the 17th in Pittsburgh. They are, way ahead of everybody else in terms of record, the two of them. The game could not have been moved. It could not be moved to prime time because it was protected. So it is only on in the afternoon. It's on 4:25. That's the game. So a lot will swirl around this game, including including Shazier and everything going on with him. So a lot will go on with this game in Pittsburgh next week at 4:30. The AFC game of the year by a wide margin, maybe the game of the year this year. Got some very good games in the NFC this week. Last night was a big one with the Falcons getting the big interception and beating the Saints 20-17. And you have a couple of big ones this Sunday. The Vikings in Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Eagles for the second straight week out west taking on the Rams after losing to the Seahawks last Sunday. You have the Steelers and the Ravens. Are the Steelers looking ahead? The Steelers have got to deal with the whole Shazier thing, and on top of that, they could be looking ahead to the Patriots. So the Ravens are hoping that's the case this week, although this is very much a rivalry game in Pittsburgh, and the Ravens have been playing better, on defense especially playing better of late. Jason in Jersey. What's up, Jason?
Hey, Mike, on that comparison, Montana-Brady, I'm specifically on the regular season comparison that you make. Every time you say that Brady was better, you go based on his head-to-head with Peyton. But the thing is that
I never mentioned Montana and Brady in the regular season. Not one time. I said Brady and Manning in the regular season.
Yeah, Brady and Manning, and you compare them. But who's your comparison to when you compare Montana in the regular season? Because the two other quarterbacks during the regular season, Brady, you would say Marino and Elway, they were in a different conference. But head-to-head, he was 1-1 versus Marino during the regular season. He was 0-3 versus the Broncos, and he was 4-3 versus Sims in his conference. So
the point is, listen. No, I was taking regular season, and wait a second. I was taking regular season, and I was taking Super Bowl. I was taking both. I was taking the guy who was the best at both, and putting Brady against either one. And he didn't win either. So he didn't win the Super Bowl performance, and he didn't win the regular season performance. So how are you going to give him the whole thing? So I put him up against Manning for the regular season because I thought Manning was the best in the regular season. I put him up against Montana in the Super Bowl because Montana was the best for the Super Bowl. If Brady couldn't beat either one of them, how would he then be the best, is my point. I took the best at each category. That's what I did. I didn't use Montana in the regular season because I didn't think Montana was the best in the regular season. I thought Peyton Manning was. And I didn't put anybody else up in the Super Bowl because I thought Montana was the best in the Super Bowl. That's it. So that's why if you're going to call someone the best ever, he's going to have to check every box. And that's what that's the reasons I did that. Now, I didn't take the body of the playoffs for either of them. I have to look at who I would rank as that. I mean, you're going to think of Starr overall was 9-1 in the postseason. That included 2 Super Bowl games, and his numbers are overwhelming. He lost the first and won 9 games in a row and was pretty much perfect in all those games. Very few mistakes. Here's Mr. Met.